Hello everyone, welcome to Crown Biology classes. This is Rohit Chaudhary, and in today's lecture we are going to study the topic named Class AVES under part 17 of Animal Kingdom series. So before studying the characteristic features, let's have a brief introduction of Class AVES. It includes about 9,000 species. Birds show a great diversity in size, color, feeding habits, nesting habits, and are adapted to live in various environmental conditions. They are distributed throughout the world. Their distinct feature is flight. So let's start class aves. First of all, we should know the meaning of this term. What does the term aves mean? It is derived from a Latin word aves, which means bird. So the first characteristic feature is all types of birds are included in this class. As the term says, the next feature is study of birds is known as ornithology. The scientific study of birds is known as ornithology. The next feature is Dr. Salim Ali was the greatest ornithologist of India. So this is the picture of Dr. Salim Ali. Dr. Salim Ali, and he is also referred to as Birdman of India. The next feature is birds are also known as feathered bipeds or glorified reptiles. So why birds are known as feathered bipeds? Because their body is covered with feathers and they rest on their hind limbs alone. As we know, their forelimbs are modified into wings. And birds are often described as glorified reptiles because of their resemblance with an origin from the reptile. The next characteristic feature is birds are warm-blooded animals. That means they are capable of generating the internal heat. They are also called homeotherms and they are also referred to as endotherms because they can produce their body heat internally. And warm-blooded animals have body temperatures that usually stay the same. The next feature is body is bowl shaped. As we can see in this picture that the body is wide in the middle and it's tapered at the ends. So this type of body is known as bowl shaped body or a streamlined body. Bowl shaped body helps a bird while flying. It reduces the air pressure and it further reduces the drag of air while flying. It is divided into head, neck, trunk and tail. As we can see, here lies the head, here lies the neck, and this is the trunk portion, and here lies the tail. The next feature is the characteristic features of birds are presence of feathers. Feathers keep them warm and also make their body weight light. And these feathers are the modification of epidermal scales. And these feathers are present all over the body and most of them can fly except flightless birds, for example, kiwi and ostrich. The next feature is skin is dry and without glands. As there are no glands present, so their skin is dry. But in most of the birds, at the base of the tail, there is an oil gland that is known as uropygial gland. Uropygial gland. This uropygial gland is also known as preen gland and it is located at the base of the tail and it secretes oil and it lubricates the feathers. So these pictures are of flightless birds. The first one is kiwi. Both of these birds can't fly. And the second one is ostrich. The next characteristic feature is forelimbs are modified into wings. As you can see in this picture, these are the wings which are the modified forelimbs and these wings helps in flying. Hind limbs are best adapted for clasping the branches of tree or for perching. Perching means to sit on a branch. As we can see in this picture, the bird is sitting on a branch with the help of its hind limbs alone. These are the hind limbs. Or for walking, swimming. We can see epidermal scales. The horny epidermal scales are present on the hind limbs of a bird. How beautifully the horny epidermal scales are shown in this picture. These are the epidermal scales. The next characteristic feature is digestive tract has additional chambers, namely the crop and gizzard. So there are two additional chambers, the crop and gizzard. As we can see in this picture, this is the esophagus. And this esophagus, it is modified into crop. It is modified into crop, and this crop is for quick food ingestion and storage. This crop helps in softening of food as well. The second additional chamber is gizzard. It has muscular walls which helps in churning and crushing of food which is swallowed unmasticated. Some birds may even have small stones in gizzard that helps in crushing the seeds and nuts. The next feature is pigeon milk or crop milk. It is secreted by both sexes. So this pigeon or crop milk, it is a secretion from the lining of crop and hence the name crop milk. Like mammalian milk, it also has IgA antibodies. IgA antibodies. The next feature is a three-chambered cloaca is present in the birds. So there are three chambers of cloaca. The first one is coprodium. This coprodium, it communicates with the rectum. The second one is urodium. Urodium, it is the opening of ureters and genital tract. And the third one is proctodium. The third chamber is proctodium. It connects to the outside. The next feature is jaws are modified into horny beak, which is toothless. As there are no teeth present in the beak, alright, and we can see this is made up of, upper beak is made up of maxilla, that is upper mandible, and lower beak is made up of lower mandible. The next characteristic feature is spongy lungs are present for respiration. As you can see in this respiratory system of birds, the red colored ones are the lungs, and these lungs are spongy and inelastic. The pink colored ones are the air sacs, and these air sacs are connected to the lungs for supplement respiration. And here we can see air sac is also present in bone. This will make the body of the bird lighter in weight, and this will help them in flying. The next feature is sound producing organ at the junction of tracheae and bronchi of birds is called syrinx. As we can see in the respiratory system of birds, here lies the trachea and here lies the bronchus, or we can say primary bronchus. So at the junction of trachea and bronchus, there is present a voice producing organ that is called syrinx. The larynx does not produce voice in case of birds. The next feature is heart is four chambered as there are two auricles and two ventricles present. Double circulation is found. Double circulation is a mechanism in which blood flows twice through the heart in one complete cycle. Systemic circulation and pulmonary circulation. These are the two pathways in which blood flows in double circulation. The next feature is only right aortic systemic arc persists in the adults. In case of adult amphibians and reptiles, both the systemic arcs are present, but in case of birds, only right systemic arc is present. So this is the diagram of respiratory system of a bird. Let's label the important parts. This pink colored organ is called syrinx. And this syrinx acts as a voice producing organ as the larynx does not act as a voice box in case of birds. And this syrinx is present at the junction of trachea and bronchi. So this is trachea and this is bronchus. The orange colored ones are the lungs, and these lungs are inelastic and spongy. The yellow colored ones are the air sacs, and these air sacs are connected to lungs for supplement respiration. We can see air sac here as well, and this air sac is present in bone. This air sac is present in bone. This will make the body of the bird lighter in weight, and this will eventually help them in flying. The next feature is renal portal system is vestigial. Vestigial means that is no longer functional, or we can say the renal portal system is greatly reduced. The next feature is erythrocytes are minute, oval and nucleated. In case of fishes, amphibians, reptiles and birds, the erythrocytes are nucleated. But in case of humans, the erythrocytes are enucleated. The next feature is the blood of the birds may be called the richest blood in the animal kingdom. Why it is called the richest blood in the animal kingdom? Because the blood has more RBC per cubic millimeter of blood than in any other animal. The next feature is endoskeleton is fully ossified, that is bony, and the long bones are hollow with air cavities. When the long bones are hollow with air cavities, we do use a term that is pneumatic bones. Pneumatic bones are the long bones with air cavities. So pneumatic bones are found in birds. Let's have a look at the bird bone and human bone. And let's see the differences between the two. As we can see, large air pockets are present in the bone of birds. But in case of human bone, bone marrow is present and bone is present. So, the large air pockets, they will reduce the weight of the body of the birds, and this will help them in flying. Or we can say pneumatic bones are found in case of birds. The next feature is skull is monocondylic. As we can see in this picture that there is only one occipital condyle present. Here is the occipital condyle. Alright, and this single occipital condyle helps the birds to rotate their heads up to 270 degrees. The next feature is last four caudal vertebrae fused to form pygostyle. The pygostyle is the part of the axial skeleton of the bird. It is a flat bone created by the fusion of final few caudal vertebrae into a single ossification. It serves as the attachment site for tail feathers and muscles, thus providing flight stabilization. Pygostyle helps in wagging of tail. The next feature is sternum is large. Swollen basal part of sternum is called keel, and this keel helps in the attachment of flight muscles. The next feature is two bones called clavicle and interclavicle. They fuse to form V-shaped bone called furcula or wishbone. All these points will be more clear when we do look at the skeleton of the bird. So, this is the skeleton of the bird. As we can see, here is the skull, alright, and this is the first vertebra, that is atlas, which is connected to the occipital condyle. Furcula, also known as wishbone or V-shaped bone, it is formed by the fusion of one clavicle and interclavicle, and it acts as a spring between two pectoral girdles. Here we can see this is keeled sternum, and this keeled sternum it helps in the attachment of flight muscles. And here we can see free caudal vertebrae, and these free caudal vertebrae they fuse to form pygostyle, which is a flat bone. The next characteristic feature is kidneys are metanephric. Metanephric kidneys are the permanent kidneys found in case of reptiles, birds, and mammals, including humans. And these kidneys are three-lobed in case of birds. Ureters open into cloaca, which opens to the outside through vent or anus. Urinary bladder is absent in case of birds. The next feature is cranial nerves are 12 pairs. In case of higher vertebrates such as reptiles, birds, and mammals, 12 pairs of cranial nerves are present. The next feature is eyes are large. As we can see in the picture that the eyes are large and nictitating membrane is present in eye. Nictitating membrane is a transparent or translucent third eyelid that can be drawn across the eye for protection. As we can see, this nictitating membrane can be drawn across the eye for protection and to moisten it while maintaining visibility. They can see as much as 8 times better than we can, and birds have monocular vision. Monocular vision means they can scan two large areas, and most birds have eyes on the sides of their head, letting them see different things with each eye. The next characteristic feature is a specific comb-like structure that is called pecten. As we can see in the diagram of the eye of a bird, there is present a pecten and it is present in the eye near blind spot. So this is a comb-like structure and it helps in accommodation of eye and it provides nutrition to the eyeball, and it is found in the eyes of all birds except kiwi. It is not found in the eye of kiwi, which is also a flightless bird. The next feature is external ears are present but ear pinnae are absent and only one ear ossicle. Namely columella, also known as stapes. It is present in middle ear. The next feature is birds are monodelphic. Monodelphic means only one ovary and oviduct is functional in females, and that one is left ovary and left oviduct. And birds are unisexual, also known as dioecious. And sexual dimorphism is well marked in them. The next feature is fertilization is internal. As the fertilization does not take place outside, it takes place inside the body of a bird. They are oviparous, that means they lay eggs and they have amniotic eggs. Amniotic eggs means they have extra embryonic membrane, which is amnion, and their amniotic egg is enclosed in a calcareous shell. The next feature is development is direct as there are no larval stages involved in them. All the birds form nests. Parental care is well marked. Some interesting behaviors are found in them such as nest building, parental care, courtship, and communication by songs or calls. Let's study some of the important examples of class Aves. The first one is corvus, commonly known as crow. It is omnivorous. The second example is columba, commonly known as pigeon. It is also omnivorous. It is gregarious as well. Gregarious means living in groups, and it is monogamous. Stecula, commonly known as parrot. It is an interesting pet as it imitates human speech. The next one is truthio, commonly known as African ostrich. It is the largest living flightless bird. The next one is pavo, commonly known as peacock. It is polygamous. Usually one male lives in the company of 4 or 5 females. Aptendites, commonly known as penguin. Penguins are the gregarious flightless birds and they live in Antarctica. Their wings are modified into swimming flippers. Neophron, commonly known as vulture. It flies very high in the sky for hours together. and it is a natural scavenger. Let's have a look at the pictures of the examples that we have just studied. The first one is corvus, commonly known as crow. The second one is columba, commonly known as pigeon. The next one is Cetacula, commonly known as parrot. The next one is Struthio, commonly known as ostrich. The next one is Pavo, commonly known as peacock. The next one is Aptenodytes, commonly known as penguin. And this last one is Neophron, commonly known as vulture.